It's good to see you. Um, we can probably turn that music off up there now. No rush. All right. So it's good to see you. It's good to be seen. Got my pens. All right, we're good. I had a senior chaplain tell me one time I was a junior chaplain, and I didn't have my. You're supposed to have two things in your front left breast pocket as a sailor: your ID card and a pen. It was uniform item, and I didn't have that. And you believe he had the audacity to say, "You're out of uniform." He was right, but he didn't have to say it like that. So now I'm one of those senior chaplains, but I don't tell them that. I don't tell them that. Anyway, but it's amazing how the course of my Navy career, you learn habits. I bet with your employment, you've got habits where something is supposed to be, and if it's not there, you feel out of place. And one of those is a pen in my pocket. Where's Mr. Steve? He's a Navy man. He knows. He's smart Navy man right there. This is the smart guy. He had the smart rate where you had to qualify to get into and didn't just put you in it. So anyway, he can tell you the story. All right. Tell me some good news going on in your life this week. Anything? Yes, ma'am. And you didn't even have to win the Super Bowl to say it, did you? You're going to Disney World. Good for you. Fun. You're driving down there, I assume. Well, I hope you have a safe trip. That'll be fun. Good. And you don't have to bring your pastor back anything at all. Nothing. Nothing. Don't bring anything back, like an extra large, anything. So, certainly no ears. No ears. Of course, they're so expensive. I'm serious. Don't bring me back anything. It's too expensive. Made in China. All right. What else? Who else? Anything? Yes, sir. Wow. Are they a Baptist? Where are they keeping her? Methodist. Downtown. Okay. Yeah, I heard that it had gone well. They were over about 12, I guess, so good. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, best they keep her in overnight. That's good. You remember they used to just keep you forever for everything. I mean, everything. Tonsils, I was in like 3 days. Today it's 3 hours. All right. We're in a season of transition, but I got to tell you how optimistic I am about this season because so many people are jumping in to help. I always knew, even for a church our size, there's a lot of moving pieces just to make Sunday mornings happen. There's everything goes on the screen. Then I have to give my notes, and then my notes have to be moved over into another platform to be shown on the screen. Each song is an independent movement, and then the people involved in turning the volume up, and then it's just a lot. And everybody is just stepping in. Matter of fact, half of us are right up there tonight because they're stepping up, trying to figure out things. But we've gone back online. Facebook was going to make us wait 60 days, and we found a workaround going through YouTube. That's why you're having to go to YouTube. I think eventually we'll have it back on Facebook too. So you'll have the two different. I know it's more convenient to just go to Facebook, but it seems like YouTube is actually is easier to work with. So we'll probably keep that also. And I can't thank everybody individually. I'll just won't catch everybody, but I'll still say thanks to all those who are helping. I really do appreciate it. That's why I'm optimistic. We're still praying for you saw on Facebook we need a pianist. That's one of those things, we really need to have, and we're working with some short-term stuff, getting our technology up there kind of polished and refined, and there's some things that we can use better, and then there's some things we don't need anymore, so we're going to try to unplug and make some room up there so it doesn't just look crazy when you step in up there. Nominating committee meets next week to form the search committee. So just that'll be coming to you to vote on for those things. Do you have any questions about the process? Any questions about what we're doing or how we're going to do it? Or again, I take great pride in that we're a congregational church, and so you need to be informed. I don't always have all the answers that you want or the ones that you want, but you should participate in the process. With the understanding we can't always, get what we want exactly, but I want you involved in the process. So do you have any questions for me tonight? All right. Oh, yeah, the hallway. If you haven't been back there yet, go take a look at the hallway. And so we're making progress, right? Isn't it great? These little things just really enhance our building. It says that, hey, we're open for business. The Lord is here open for business. Yeah, it looks really nice. Yes, we're on tonight. I've got to remember, you need to help my rememberer that when you say something, I need to repeat what you say so that people at home can hear it. I forget to do that. But we're also trying with some mics to have some ambient to pick up some of the interaction. But anyway, that I would say, though, because we are going Wednesday nights, we need to be careful with some of the details on people's lives that we discuss. So that's one caveat that's been brought up to me. There's some things that people love to be shared here, but when everybody can tap play who don't even belong to our church, maybe that's not appropriate for some things. So just keep those kinds of things in mind. All right. An attorney was driving through the countryside when his car failed him. And he looked under the hood and knocked a few items around with a hammer. In the process, he knocked off a gas line and got his arm soaked with gas before getting back in. Discouraged, he attempted to start his car, and much to his surprise, it started, and he headed for the nearest town for the permanent repair. To celebrate the success, he lit up a cigarette, at which time his arm exploded into flames, and he stuck his arm out the window, hoping that the wind at 50 miles per hour would put it out, and he was promptly pulled over by a local policeman and given a ticket for the illegal use of a firearm. So it wasn't funny, but you laughed, so that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Proverbs 18:22, merry heart's a good medicine. Okay. An IRS agent went into a synagogue looking for the rabbi. Rabbi, he says, when he sees him, do you know a Mr. Morris Katz? Yes, I do, said the rabbi. Is he a member of your congregation? Asked the IRS agent. Yes, he is. Did he make a $100,000 donation to the synagogue that he claims on his tax return? The agent asked, and the rabbi says, I can assure you he will. So, anyway, all right. Another car pulled over by a highway patrolman. I got pulled over by a highway patrolman one time. How many times have you been pulled over by a highway patrolman, Gwen? Do you remember? We lost fingers. No, it wasn't that many times. It was more than me, but it wasn't that many times. I got pulled over one time going out in between Duck Hill. I was headed to lunch. It was a summer July day. You and the kids, I think, were up here actually somewhere. And I was there by myself, and my mind, as it is, I told Keegan, I said, Keegan, do you realize some mornings I'll get in the car when I leave Coldwater, and I don't consciously realize I'm in Millington until I'm in Millington. I just zone out. So I'm driving up to my office. I go, oh, I'm here. Okay. So 55 minutes later. Anyway, I got pulled over and was given, I think I may have told you this, but again, my gray hair, I tell my stories more than once, so because they're so good. And he gave me a ticket. First thing I did is say, I'm so sorry to make you get out of this July heat because it was hot. And he wrote me a ticket. He asked what I did. I said, I'm the pastor down at Duck Hill. You probably know so-and-so. He's our police chief. Goes, oh, yeah, I know him. And he gave me a ticket and, says the courtesy. I don't know. What do they say, Denise? What do they say? That at the end of the ticket? Don't they? What do they always tell you? I don't know. I don't remember. Something like don't do it again or. What do you know? Is that what they say? Okay. And so anyway, I get back to the office and I call up. No, I don't call him. He's dropped by, the police chief. And the town dropped by and I said, you're not going to believe this, but I got a ticket today. So I was telling him because I said, you're probably going to hear about it. And I did it. He says, give me that ticket. And he went and called that highway patrolman. This was the good old days when you could, I wasn't going to use that word, but yes. And here's the literal truth. He called that highway patrolman. He says, why did you give my preacher a ticket? He says, well which preacher? I've gave 2 tickets to preachers. Is it the lying preacher or the other preacher? And now, man. Oh, I said that was good to have to follow through and be a man of integrity that day. He had given another preacher a ticket, and he asked the preacher. He said, "What? Well, I'm a pastor. I'm headed to the hospital. Someone's in the hospital. Oh, really? What's his name? I may know him." Anyway, one thing led to another. He said, "Just give me the ticket. I got to go," because there wasn't anybody in the hospital. And he said that preacher had to pay for his ticket. And I didn't get any points taken off of mine. So there you go. It always goes, just be honest. Sometimes it pays off. Martha. I don't know what you're saying, but all right. All right, now let's go. The car was pulled over by a highway patrolman for speeding. As the officer was writing the ticket, she noticed several machetes in the car. What are those for? She asked. I'm a juggler, the man replied. I use those in my act. She said, I'd love to see that. Won't you show me? So he gets out and begins to juggle these machetes. And he was overhand, underhand, behind the back. He was putting on a show. And just then, another car passed by, and the driver did a double take. And he said, oh, goodness, I've got to stop drinking. Look at the test they're giving now. So he's probably right. All right. The best for last. Oh, you thought I was done? A farmer was milking a cow. I told you I saved the best for last, BB. A farmer was milking a cow, and a fly was flying around. He shushed it away with his hand, and it flew right into the cow's ear. He kept milking, and the fly came out in the milk bucket. And the farmer thought, in one ear and out the other. Save the best for last, and I didn't grab my prayer sheet. Can I have yours? Thank you. All right, let's take a look at the announcements. Don't forget our prayer time at 10:35, led by one of our deacons, Mr. Tyler Bland. We only need that prayer time, folks. We need folks to be present. We had a great showing this past Sunday. I could see you guys, so thank you very much. Mother's Day on Sunday. Don't forget the breakfast is for all women. So breakfast at 8:45 in the fellowship hall. And Chad and your team, who's all taking the lead on that, who all's helping, thank you, prepare that. I'm not sure I'm going to help only because it's difficult to preach when you smell like bacon. But nonetheless, thank you for making this possible, even having the idea. I appreciate that. We're not doing children's baby dedication this Sunday. We've moved it to Father's Day because there's another person who would like to participate, and that's their next available. And so I gave Anna the choice. Since this is a friend of hers, she said that's fine, since she was the only baby we had. So we're gonna have that on Father's Day, just so you'll be aware of that. But we are still doing the flowers. Ann, are you helping give out flowers as usual? Please. So, and then I think last year Anna helped, and whoever else wants to help, that's a process to get them out. But we'll have enough flowers for everyone. Thank you all for doing that. Appreciate it. Finance meeting is moved to the 18th. I'm going to try to take off the 19th and go check out this fish fry that we're having. At least I'm going to try to take off. I thought you did a fine job driving the van. Yeah, I thought you did a fine job. I didn't have any problem with you driving the van. Well, I just wanted to model good behavior. So, but that'll be fun. So, all right, we're back to our next potluck meal on the 21st. So if you'll bring something, the church provides, we're going to do the chicken strips usually or something like that, right? And hopefully this time we'll have a better solution for pickup time. So, well, it wasn't anybody's fault other than they just didn't have it ready in time. And those things happen. So, but okay. The office will be closed from Memorial Day the 26th. Our phase 2, 3,493. Thank you for your giving. Helps to us make those things like the carpet back there. You know, it looks really nice, and I think the next thing we just need to go ahead and just fill out the classroom space too. So, office will be closed. All right, collection for Samaritan's Purse is ongoing. There's that, and then the church directory. Any question? Any announcements that I neglected? Anyone? All right. Today we begin a study of Psalm 23. We'll be doing that for the next 2 years. So I'm going to stretch it out. I had a pastor who did Genesis for 4 years, and then he wrote a book on it. And the book was as good as the 4 years, so it was tough. But we're going to dive into this. I don't know how many weeks for sure, but it'll probably be about 5 to 6 to 7 weeks, looking at the 23rd Psalm. Did everybody get their Bible study sheets? You did? Good. So I'll try to provide those each week. Again, that's another moving part. And well, I'll try to give you that, and you can kind of follow along. Tonight, though, we're going to just do a general introduction to the psalm itself. Psalm 23 is no doubt one of the most enduring psalm in the Bible. Written by King David. God said a man after his own heart, even with his past. I think the psalm is very reflective of things that he had gone through in his life. And it's a very simple psalm. But its familiarity sometimes can mask some of the theological depth, some of the practical relevance. It starts out in verse 1, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. The shepherd there is a royal caretaker. We'll mention it in a moment, but that is the name for God, which is Yahweh. Do you know that you typically, it's been reported that when a scribe would write the name Yahweh for God, they would throw away the writing utensil and then go bathe and then come back and finish the rest of the section. The people who would, because they had such a very high estimation of the name for God. In fact, you couldn't even speak the name Yahweh. When you came to it, you were supposed to say Elohim. It's totally different. They're using the vowels for another word added to the consonants for this word, and that's how they wouldn't even speak the word Yahweh. Verse 2, he makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. The key there is leads to rest. Verse 3, he restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. And then the hinge verse, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, notice how he shifted here from he, speaking of the Lord, now he's talking personal. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. That's the hinge, they say. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Now, there's a suggestion that this is an eschatological reference. That, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, describes all of us waiting for the Lord to bring in his kingdom. So, that's why I think sometimes maybe we deal with so much difficulty, is that we underestimate the impact of the fallen world. Being Christians in the fallen world, it still impacts us. We are walking through the valley of the shadow of death right now, and that is normal. Doesn't mean we have to like it, but we'll get to this in a minute about what God does about it. But what I found interesting, I remember this in seminary when we did this chapter, is that word for death, shadow of death, means deepest, darkest, or deepest, darkest, dark. So think of the most worst place in the world for being scared and deep and dark. That's what David is describing there. It's not where you want to be. Verse 5, you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. The word there is to make fat or rich. In other words, it's one of those opulent meals. It's a special meal. And he's preparing that. It's a lavish meal. And then verse 6, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And one of my favorite Hebrew words there is the word hesed. I have a hard time pronouncing it because you're supposed to pronounce it with a cough. Hesed. It comes from the back. I don't do it enough to do it well. But it means it's the description of God's covenant love for us. It's a love. The word sometimes is loving kindness. Ever loving kindness is what it's describing there. So some of the major theological themes in verses 1 and 2 is providence. So God supplies physical and spiritual needs. He is not insensitive to both. Verse 3 is the guidance and righteousness, so divine leading. And then this was the hinge, presence in suffering. Fear is expelled not by the change of our circumstances, which is what we all too often pray for, but we stop short. So David says that my circumstances will change, not because my circumstances will change, but because of your company in the midst of my circumstances. You being present with me in the midst of the valley removes the influence of the valley. Covenant hospitality, verses 5 through 6, pictures God as an honor-granting host. So he's reversing shame and defeat. And that's kind of the eschatological hope, the future hope. The forever part, it says forever literally means length of days. That word literally means length of days. It's kind of poetic. Hebrew is very poetic. It stretches beyond the temporal life, temporary life. Forever means length of days. Any questions up to now? All right. What modern valleys of deep darkness currently challenge our community of faith? Well, we're in transition. Not the first time, won't be the last time we go through these things. But it can be disorienting, can it? What brings us here? And listen, the danger is to become preoccupied by it, where it takes an unnatural influence over us. As I was telling someone today, God's working the plan. And in his big plan is Coldwater First Baptist Church. Not because we've earned anything special, but because we're his people. He's got a plan. It didn't catch him by surprise. I think what David is trying to say, I'm in this deep, dark valley, but Lord, the temptation is to focus on the valley and not the relationship. And valleys can really do that, especially when they take the form of chronic illness and disease, or money, or addictions, job loss, caring for family members. All of those things can be terribly influential. And so what David is teaching us is that by being in the midst of those with me, you help me keep things in perspective. I heard this a number of years at the Cove when I can't even remember who spoke it now. You remember were you there? I don't know. The lady that spoke, lost her husband to Elizabeth Elliot. That joy is not the absence of trouble, it's the presence of Christ. Wow, that was just so, wow. Joy is not the absence of trouble. And yet that's the first place we go, isn't it? Lord, I don't like what I'm going through. Remove the situation. Well, what if he doesn't? What if he doesn't remove it? How is your relationship with God then? That's where we lose a lot of folks. Because this is not my idea of God. Maybe that's our fault, our fault as pastors. We give you a false sense of hope. That's in your circumstances and not in Christ. Oh, so Elizabeth Elliot, this was a young couple. She and her husband went off to, and I don't recall where it was, but they were called to be missionaries in a very difficult place. And he was killed in a matter of weeks by the people they were there to help bring the gospel to, because they didn't want it. They flew into a sandbar, he and some friends of other missionary couples, and never came back. They found their bodies. They had just gotten married, just starting grand life together. And she developed, and I will say this, I don't believe God institutes those things. I believe those things happen because they're on this side of a new heaven and a new earth. So those things are just going to happen. But the Lord uses them. Remember, Paul said that he draws good, he can draw good out of all things. And she became one of the most influential devotional writers and authors and speakers. Would have never happened. I don't think she would have influenced the number of people she influenced as a missionary's wife. Didn't mean she didn't she wanted that to happen. But she didn't concentrate on the valley. In the total scheme of things, I'm sure she had her day, especially at the beginning. But by not concentrating on the valley, the Lord was able to communicate through her in just remarkable ways. All right, let's just look at a few practical insights. One is when he refers to him as the shepherd, what he's trying to say is that you and I are not self-employed in life, that God takes full responsibility for us. Again, he's working his plan, and you're central to that plan. No matter where you are in your stage of life, God thinks about you in it. Isn't that something? Green pastures, quiet waters. God, it builds rest into the stops of the journey. You know, I think I've had moments in my life where it was like, I look back and think, you know, that's a green pasture. Boy, it was nice. And that was a gift of God, a green pasture. You don't see a lot of that in the Middle East. You really don't. So it's very special when you see it. It's really nice. And you kind of stop and camp there a little while. Restores my soul. Restores means to bring back to the original condition. The way I like to look at it is we have Genesis 1 and 2 and some of 3 and then Revelations. And so what's going on now is you have this collapsing to the two universes where he's bringing us back to what is originally intended. And so the new heaven, which is new birth, no more cry, no more tears, no more pain for us, that's coming here. Genesis is over here where he originally created us. Remember how he would just apparently walk in the garden and have conversations with Adam and Eve, and then one day that stops? Not because he did it, because they did it, both of them. He's trying to fix everything in the middle, so he's collapsing those two worlds back together. And so, you know, if the Lord tarries, we won't see it, but if he does, you'll get to see that. It's a guaranteed promise. Then the right paths for his name's sake. He guides us because his reputation is at hand. I would suggest you look at it sometimes and it seems like, well, the Lord really messed that up, or that doesn't seem right. I think most of the time we didn't cooperate. It takes some maturity sometimes to cooperate in the valley. So, dark valley, again, presence, not scenery, removes fear. Remember, David didn't pray for the valley to change. He didn't pray for the green pastures in the valley. He prayed for God in the valley. What do you need most? I want you to be with me. And then that's kind of the hinge for the whole psalm. You think of a door hinging one way from the other. You have the one side, and then it hinges, and the psalm takes on a totally different personality. The table, the oil, the overflowing cup is an imagery of a victory feast. But listen to this. It's a victory feast while the enemies are watching. Why would you have a victory feast in front of the enemies? What is David alluding to? We've already won the battle. We've already won. I'm not afraid of you. You out there, whatever you are, however many you are, I'm not afraid of you. I'm here. I've already won. I think when we were going through David and Goliath, when we had that series, this is when I think David won the battle with Goliath. There's two significant movements. One is when he decided to be faithful as a young man. And then two is when he stepped out to face Goliath, not when he gathered the stones to throw at Goliath. It's when he said, I don't know how this is going to end. I don't know what this is going to look like. He had no idea. One of the things, unfortunately, is that we read the Bible with hindsight, and we think we see the end, and we don't get enthralled with the process. David had no idea that he was coming back, but he had to stand up for God's honor. And so I would say that David won the battle with Goliath when he made that very first step toward him. That's pretty significant. We're talking about faith this week, in fact, this Sunday. And then the goodness, the hesed, it says, chases me. God's love pursues us. Someone described how you would think of hesed is, think of a friend who bails out another friend at 2 a.m. for the 100th time and then says, hey, let's go have breakfast. Think of that. bails out this person yet again in the middle of night, gets that call again, and says, hey, let's go have breakfast. That's a flimsy but a good description of Hesed for us today. That's what Jesus' grace is for us. Every single time that forgiveness comes, he says, you're forgiven, let's go have breakfast. That's pretty, I like that. So, all right, let's take a look at the prayer list. My mom got great reports so far. It looks good, so I'm grateful for that. Great report from Jenny. Dayton is going back into the nursing home tomorrow. So I was talking with Ron today. It should be good it was good to always talk to Ron, but it'd be good to have him back put him back in the rotation, so to speak. Dorothy's swallow test went well. I forgot to, we should have. Lester's doing better, just taking a little while. That's okay. Jean, did you have your MRI today? I did. But you don't know anything yet, do you? All I know is there's a brain, but you don't know how it works. Well, I've got news for you. You're about to pay a doctor $2,000 to tell you that very same thing. They don't know how it works. But anyway, well, we'll pray for good news then. So. Okay. Well, he better. He'll tell you something. So, all right. Frances went Monday, right? So we're going to get her back soon. That's great. She was in church Sunday? Where was she? I did not see her. But you know why? It's because we've got so many more people here. You don't stand out like you used to, some of you. So I'm grateful for one thing, but I'm sorry for the other, and I feel really bad. I do the best I can to get around and say hello to everyone, and I feel so bad. Oh, I feel so bad. I take my glasses off when I preach so I don't have to see your facial reactions. So, I hate that. Well, praise the Lord. All right. And she probably can't wait, can't she? Bless her heart. Okay. I'm sorry, let me just go through and see if I have any updates for you, then you can give me some. I don't have a most recent update for Eldon, for Leota's son-in-law. Are they still here? Okay, good. I knew he was making progress. Yeah. Well, Leota went back she went back last week, but he's going to have a PICC line and daily antibiotics and things. But he was better. I think it was Sunday. He was progressing, so we're thankful for that. That was today too. Where do you have his surgery at? Don't know? Okay. Well, good. All right. Is anybody else having a knee surgery? This is the season. Anybody else? When are you having yours? Okay. Well, it's still early in May, so tell them to get on it. July, okay. Is that Ortho South? Dr. Christian? No, he doesn't do those. Wykoski. Yeah. Okay. All right. How about from you? Any updates, additions? Why is she having that? Okay. 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 So just praying for overall health for both of them in special cases, all right? Okay. Okay, now who is this? Tyler's aunt and uncle, Tyler Creason's aunt and uncle bought a new house and it burned. What's their names again? Jackie and Quinn. Quin? Quen. Mercy. Wait, let me get this one here. But still, that's a big process to go through to get a new house, and then it would go away like that. Okay? All right, next. And injuries, are we optimistic? All right, so Katie's coworker had a bad fall. Tyler, I'm sorry. Yeah, here's some bad equipment he could have fallen off of. All right. All right. Thank you. Okay. Who else? Okay. So Tommy's finally going to get the melanoma issue looked at. And so, okay. And Rita's going to not be here tomorrow, so if you come looking for her, she won't be here. But we're glad he's finally tackling this little issue, and we'll have to pray for this process. He's put it off for a little while. All right. Who else? Listen, I appreciate you being here. It's so good to see you. You know, this is Wednesday nights are special for me. I just kind of, I'm just kind of casual with you with Bible study, and you're very receptive, and your inputs are important, and your commitment to prayer and to our congregation, to our little church. I appreciate that. It would be awful to be up here all by myself. If just me and Rita are up here, it would be awful, let me tell you. So, pray for our church through this. That's just obvious. And then I usually don't ask to be put on the prayer list, but you do a good job of praying for me, and I appreciate that. But I would covet your prayers too. As I told the deacons in our deacons meeting, I'm not perfect. I know. But my toleration level is just not there like it used to. And it needs, that's not good for a pastor. You want to love your folks. And so I'm just starting to let some of the little things, are creeping in closer than I usually prefer them to get there. And I'll get through it. I'll get through that. It's no problem. But just for you to pray. And it's not all about me. So I don't want you to, I'm not think that this process is about me. But, we all have our seasons. There's mine. And I just would like for you to pray for me about it. So I'm sure Gwen would appreciate it too. Bless her heart. And Rita would too. Yeah, I know she would too. All right. Okay. Anyway. All right. Who wants to open us up in prayer? All right, Eddie. Thank you, sir. One of our new deacons too. All right. Who else wants to pray? Who wants to close us in prayer? Where's Brittany? You want to call her and get her back? Mm-hmm. Who wants to? We'll let her slide. Who wants to close us in prayer? Remember, it doesn't have to be long or special or, well, let me say, all your prayers are special. So use the proper wording. It doesn't have to be unique or fancy words, Baptist words, Presbyterian words, Methodist words. Just words, just conversation. And I know sometimes I poke you. I'm just trying to get you out of your comfort zone. It's good to pray in front of our folks and with our folks. If all you say is, Lord, all these folks, we pray for their health, amen. Boom, you got it. That's a good prayer. So who's it going to be? Are y'all going to let Rita? Y'all going? All right. Y'all really want to leave here on the closing of Rita's prayer? With Rita closing? I appreciate you. You know I love you.
I do. I do. And I love you too. Yeah.
We couldn't do this without you. So, all right. Eddie's opening. That's right. So after Eddie's prayer, Rita's going to just pause and let anyone else who wants to pray. Even if, maybe just someone special on the list, and you want to focus just on that one person. I think that's awesome. Somebody's not on the list, and you just want to say, Lord, you know who I'm thinking about, and I'm praying for them. That's fine too. And then Rita, whenever you think everybody has prayed, your prayer will dismiss us tonight. Eddie.